Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I decided I wanted to film again because my last video did good in terms of getting views and like engagement and comments. I was surprised. I was like, whoa, but they were all negative. So it was like good for the channel, but bad for my mental health. So I was like, okay, I still want engagement, but let me do something safe. So I thought I would talk about Chuck E. Cheese. Now, this is actually kind of dangerous because Chuck E. Cheese is a big, powerful company. As we know, Charles Entertainment Cheese is a powerful rat.
A powerful rat named Charles Entertainment Cheese.
So they might not like this video and they might sue me.
So I'm just gonna put a disclaimer that this is all alleged. You can't trust everything on the internet. You'll never know if I really worked at Chuck E. Cheese or not. I did. My experience is just that, my own experience. Everybody's gonna have a different one. Just take this with a grain of salt, understand that your experience could be vastly different. And you know, if you're dead set in working at Chuck E. Cheese, then don't let me stop you. Not that I'm trying to, but just saying, please don't sue me. Okay. I worked at Chuck E. Cheese for about a year. It was the first job that I ever had, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, honestly. Like, there was just some personal stuff going on in my life at the time that eventually led me to leave Chuck E. Cheese, but it is one of the few jobs that I've worked that I feel like I would return to, only if I had to.
Because I do think it's a little humiliating to like leave a job and go back.
But I really did like the job. It was lenient, it was chill. I really did enjoy it. The work environment was fun. Kind of stressful, but fun. We'll get more to that later. I actually made a script, kind of, because I always go off the rails. And this is my second time filming the video. I filmed it on slow-mo mode, so the 20-minute video turned into an hour-long video. And all of the footage is unusable, so I don't really have a choice. I guess the first step to getting hired is obviously to apply, but how are you gonna do that? I would just recommend going in person anywhere anyways, so that the business can see you, they can tell that you're really eager about the job, and depending on the time that you go, if the business is slow, you may get an interview on the spot and you could potentially get hired on the spot, which is what happened for me. I went during the weekday, and so Chuck E. Cheese is typically super slow on the weekday, anytime. They literally had nothing to do. So the manager came out, introduced himself, he interviewed me, hired me, gave me my shirt. Love it. If you're dead set on working at Chuck E. Cheese, go Monday through Friday. I think they open at 9 or 10. 10 to 5, you'll get an interview. Okay, so now that you've gotten hired at Chuck E. Cheese, there's 5 different areas to specialize in. The first being kid check, cash, kitchen, showroom, and game room. Game room is with the arcades and fixing the games, putting more tickets in. That's what game room does. Showroom is for the birthday parties. You're essentially like hospitality, essentially. Kitchen, cook the food, serve the food, basic. Cash, you work the cash register, put in the orders for the kitchen, and then when you have downtime, you go and you work the merch counter, which is where the kids trade in their tokens for prizes, or their tickets for prizes. And then kid check, very simple job, but very important. You stand at the door, at the entrance / exit, and you stamp everybody's hand to make sure that every child enters with the adults that they came in with, or at least adults that know them. And let's say that the stamp gets smudged, or they have different stamps, but they're like, this is my kid. Ask them to show you a picture of the child on their phone, and then you can let them leave together, just to prove that they actually know the child and they're not committing an abduction. So those are the 5 areas you can specialize in, but they do expect you to float around, and you'll usually learn at least 2 of the areas, and that's typically where they'll put you at. However, all 5 of these very different areas have one common job: to wake up Chuck. So Chucky, as we know, performs his shows for the kids, throws them tickets, and I don't care what job you work, whether you're a girl or a boy, you are expected to wake up Chucky, because Chucky is real. Yeah. Wake up Chucky, you know. You know what I mean? Everybody has to do it. Some jobs are more likely to do it more often than others. If you work game room or kitchen, you're probably always gonna have to wake up Chucky. I worked there for a year, like I said, and for my first 8 months working there, I never had to wake up Chucky. So if you're not into that, maybe go to cash or showroom and you'll be less likely to do it, but they do expect you to. And if you refuse to wake up Chucky, we actually hired this one guy. He refused to wake up Chucky. He's like, I'm not with that. So we fired him the same day, his first and last day. So it is very serious. Like if that you're not willing to do that, you're probably not going to last very long. So now that you have the job, you understand the areas and kind of what the job entails, let's talk about the pay. The pay typically ranges between $8 for just a cast member to $12 for like a supervisor. If you're not planning on becoming a supervisor or like a manager, you'll probably make $8 at the lower end and $10 at the higher end. So for high schoolers or just somebody looking for a casual, job that pays decently, I would say the pay is pretty decent for what they expect from you. There is definitely opportunity within the company to advance, be promoted or whatnot. At least twice a year, they'll look at their employees in all the different areas and they'll pick one employee from each area. They're gonna promote you to be a team 2 trainer, which essentially means you're gonna train the new employees that get put in your area. So I was very lucky to get picked for that position. It comes with a $1 raise. And when they hire new employees and they put them in your area, you're the one that trains them. If you want to make some extra cash, I would recommend going to the showroom, because since you are like a waitress, or a hostess, the parties can give you tips. So if you do showroom, you could make up to like $400 extra just from one night of doing parties, depending on the number of parties and like how generous they were. But because the parties are super expensive at Chuck E. Cheese, you were at the bare minimum, you'd get like a $20 tip. So it was good. It helped. My energy is gone. Sorry. So in regards to hours, as I mentioned earlier, Chuck E. is pretty dead during the weekdays. So you are more than likely gonna work every single weekend, especially if you're doing showroom, which is what I did, the parties. That's where all the parties are booked throughout the day. So you're like only your primary, all of the majority of your hours are going to come from the weekend. This goes for everybody, but especially showroom. If you work kitchen and cash, you might have a more balanced schedule, or game room. But if you're working and kitchen, literally everywhere but showroom, you'll have a more balanced schedule. But the majority of our employees only worked on the weekend. You couldn't get more than 40 hours unless you were like a manager or a supervisor. So if you're lucky, you'd get at least like 30-ish hours a week, but they tried to keep it in the 20s for everybody. At the bare minimum, get 20. At the high end, you'll probably get like 30. So it's not a huge commitment, but if you're really desperate for money, the pay isn't that great, and you also don't get that many hours, so just keep that in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is Chuck E. Cheese is classified as a restaurant. Restaurants are not, from my understanding, they're not federally required to give breaks to people. Most of the employees in most of the areas could find some downtime to relax, to grab a bite to eat or whatnot. It wasn't scheduled into your shift, so just keep that in mind. At least at my location, there was an option to take a voluntary break, but you'd have to ask for permission for that, and depending on the area that you're working in, you may or may not be granted that, and especially depending on how busy we are. So just if you know that you need a break, you're not likely to get it. The environment at Chuck E. Cheese reminded me a lot of high school. Granted, most of the employees were high schoolers, so it made sense, but even the managers and the older employees we had there were kind of childish and like immature, and there was just a lot of drama. At least at my location, it might be different at others, but I just felt like there was always something going on and people were always gossiping about each other and so forth. It was fun too, it just reminded me a lot of high school. There's kind of drama, but it was fun. So I liked that environment. If that's not your thing, then maybe Chuck E. isn't for you, but it was fun. I would say it was a good environment, very positive, I guess. Okay, so we're almost at the end of the video, and I feel like I've stayed on track. Yay me. If you're looking to work at Chuck E. Cheese, then this is probably your first job. My advice to y'all would be to just understand your value to the company. Most jobs really don't want to have to go through a hiring process, so they're gonna try to hold on to the employees that they have. They're not gonna want to fire you. Like, I had this misconception that jobs were just like, bye, like firing people left and right over the smallest of like, I don't know, the smallest errors. They're really not. Like, they will cling to people that they probably shouldn't, because they just don't, it's just a hassle for them to have to like hire people and all this. So if you are already hired, know that they probably don't want to lose you, especially if you're good at your job and you're a decent employee. If you really need time off, or there's an issue at work and you don't think they're taking it seriously, put your foot down. I know it's not easy and it's probably not something you want to do, but if you know your worth, they're more likely to listen to you, because they need you a lot more than you need them. You know, just know your worth and have fun. I don't know. But I wish you guys the best of luck. I hope this gave you some insight into the company, and I'm so bad at exits. So definitely leave me a comment if this video helped you. If you have any other questions, I will for sure respond and try to answer those. And let me know how your interviews go, or if you got hired or not. And I hope you all have a great day.